Imagine that you are living in the year 1900 in an arid region of Crimea or on the parched plains of southern France. There are no piped water networks, there is no electricity, and rain is a rare event that happens only twice a year. For most, this would be the end of the line. But for a visionary engineer named Friedrich Siebold, this was just a problem of surface physics. Siebold looked at the sky and realized that even on the driest day, there were tons of water floating over his head in the form of invisible vapor. He didn't build a complex machine, he built a hill of stones. What he discovered was so efficient that the authorities of the time tried to hide the results to maintain control over local populations. Now in 2026, with global droughts hitting records and the price of water rising, we are going to rescue this forgotten manual. Get ready to discover how to extract 20 liters of pure water every day from dry air using the 1900 method. The science behind this system is what we call large-scale mass condensation. To understand why this method is capable of producing 20 liters a day while other systems fail, we need to talk about the thermal thirst of materials. In the previous video, we learned about clay pots, which are excellent for individual use. But the 1900 method, known as Siebold's air well, is a community water plant. It is based on the temperature difference between the core of a massive structure and the moisture-laden outside air. Air is not just a mixture of gases, it is a thermal sponge. And we are going to learn how to squeeze that sponge using nothing but stones and geometry. Why 1900? Because back then, engineering didn't try to beat nature with brute force. It tried to align itself with its subtlest laws. Siebold discovered the ruins of 13 large stone mounds around the ancient city of Theodosia. He realized that these mounds were, in fact, gigantic condensers that provided water to the city's fountains through clay pipes. He replicated the design, and to the astonishment of the scientific world, his condenser began to drip pure water in the middle of the day under a scorching sun. In 2026, we are rescuing this technology because it is the only one that does not depend on chemical filters, reverse osmosis membranes, or high-pressure pumps. It is the cleanest water you can drink, manufactured by the sky itself. The engineering of Siebold's condenser is based on the pillar of ventilated porosity. Unlike a solid wall, the air well is a conical pile of limestone or river pebbles of uniform size. The secret lies in the empty spaces between the stones. These spaces create what physics calls an inverted chimney effect. During the night, the stones lose heat rapidly to space through infrared radiation. When the sun rises, the warm, moist air is drawn into the cool gaps of the pile. Upon touching the frozen surface of the stones inside the mound, the water vapor instantly reaches the dew point. The water turns into a liquid, coalesces, and flows by gravity to a central reservoir at the base. The first pillar of high yield is the choice of material. Siebold discovered that limestone or quartz stones, about 10 to 15 centimeters in diameter, were the most efficient. Why? Because they possess the perfect balance between thermal mass and surface area. Stones that are too small block the passage of air. Stones that are too large do not have enough contact surface to condense the vapor efficiently. In 2026, you can use natural stones or even clean concrete debris and broken ceramics to replicate the effect. The goal is to create an air labyrinth where every molecule of moisture is forced to touch a cold surface before exiting the pile. The second pillar is base insulation. The air well is not just a pile of stones on the ground. To produce 20 liters a day, you need to prevent the Earth's heat from rising into the pile during the day. The base of your condenser should be a concave platform, preferably made of waterproof concrete or sealed clay, with a layer of thermal insulation underneath, such as volcanic ash or cork. This base directs all the condensed water into a central collection tube. The water reservoir must be buried and protected from light to keep the temperature low, preventing the water you just collected from evaporating back into the atmosphere. But how do you ensure the air circulates? This is where the 1900 fluid dynamics secret comes in. The stone pile must have a conical or pyramidal shape. This shape creates pressure differentials between the base and the top. The wind hitting the outer walls of the pile is forced to penetrate the gaps. As the air moves to the colder center, it becomes denser and heavier, causing it to descend. This downward movement pushes the saturated air towards the collection stones. It is a natural air pump, driven entirely by the density difference between the warm surface air and the cold core air. Many wonder, what if the air is too dry? This is where the 1900 method shines compared to modern competitors. Even with only 20% relative humidity, the volume of air passing through a 3-meter-high condenser is so vast that water production is guaranteed. The system works as an accumulator. It captures moisture at dawn, when the air is most saturated, and stores it in the cold core to be processed throughout the day. In 2026, in areas suffering from desertification, this method is the difference between having a productive garden or an arid lot. An essential technical detail is limestone sanitization. Water collected through limestone goes through a natural process of purification and remineralization. The calcium in the stones helps keep the water pH at a slightly alkaline level, which is ideal for human consumption and prevents bacteria from proliferating in the collection reservoir. Additionally, the constant flow of air through the pile acts as a mechanical filtration system, removing dust particles. The water that comes out of the base of Siebold's well is often purer than rainwater collected from roofs, which usually carries debris and urban pollution. Regarding construction, size matters. To reach the goal of 20 liters a day, the condenser needs mass. A mound with a 2-meter base and 2 meters in height is the balance point for a family residence. Construction is a process of patience, selecting the stones, cleaning each one to avoid organic odors, and careful stacking to ensure that the air channels are not obstructed. In 2026, we are seeing entire communities come together to build stone forests, groups of airwells that feed collective cisterns. It is the people's infrastructure, built to last centuries. The operating cost of a 1900 airwell is, by definition, zero. There are no moving parts that wear out, no filters that need to be changed every 6 months, and no need for electronic monitoring. Once the thermal balance of the pile is established, which usually takes about 2 weeks of thermal maturation, the system enters a perpetual cycle. It breathes at night and cries water during the day. It is the most honest engineering there is, as it uses only what nature offers for free: stones, air, and the cold of space. Many skeptics in 1900 tried to discredit Siebold, claiming that the water production was merely the result of rain hidden among the stones. But tests carried out under absolute drought conditions proved otherwise. The system literally creates water from the invisible. It is a form of atmospheric mining. If you consider that Earth's atmosphere contains 12,900 cubic kilometers of renewable water, you realize that water scarcity is an illusion created by inefficient and centralized distribution systems. The airwell returns the power of survival to the individual. A secret to increasing production by up to 30% is selective painting. If you paint the stones of the outer layer white and the core stones matte black, you enhance the thermal differential. The white reflects the sun's heat during the day, keeping the outer face less hot, while the black in the core, if there is any radiation entry, or the nature of the dark stone itself, helps in the emission of infrared heat to the night sky. However, the original method of using natural stones is preferred for its aesthetic integration and infinite durability. In 2026, Siebold's air well is being integrated into sponge city concepts. Imagine roofs that, instead of just draining rainwater, have small condensation towers that produce water throughout the dry summer. Imagine highways whose sound barriers are, in fact, linear condensers that irrigate the vegetation on the banks. The 1900 technology is the missing piece in the puzzle of modern urban resilience. It allows life to flourish where before there was only dust. Maintenance of the air well is simple. Once a year, it is recommended to wash the pile with a high-pressure hose to remove any fine dust buildup that may have entered with the wind. Additionally, inspecting the central drain ensures that no small insect has blocked the water outlet. It is a system designed for eternity. Unlike a modern electric dehumidifier, which consumes energy and burns its circuit board in 3 years, Siebold's airwell only becomes more efficient over time as the mass of stones settles and beneficial nitrifying bacteria colonies stabilize at the base. The psychological impact of having your own water source is indescribable. In a situation of crisis or infrastructure collapse, water is the first resource to become a weapon of control. Whoever controls the tap controls the population. By building a high-yield atmospheric condenser, you are declaring independence from the system. You no longer need to ask permission to drink, to cook, or to keep your garden alive. You become a producer of resources, not just a consumer. It is freedom in its most liquid and pure form. Imagine waking up on a desert morning with the parched ground all around you and walking to the tap at the base of your stone pile. As you turn the handle, cold, crystal-clear water loaded with fresh minerals gushes out in abundance. You know that water didn't come from a polluted river or an exhausted aquifer. It came from the sky, purified by the very physics of the universe. It is an experience that reconnects humans with the fundamental forces of creation. You are not just surviving, you are thriving through understanding. The implementation of this method on your land must be strategic. The well should be positioned in the path of prevailing winds, away from sources of pollution or excessive dust. The top of the cone can be equipped with a small wind vane that helps direct air inward, increasing pressure and, consequently, the condensation rate. Small 2026 engineering adjustments applied to the 1900 design can raise production from 20 to 30 or even 40 liters on high humidity nights. Zibold's air well is a monument to human intelligence. It reminds us that we do not need invasive or destructive technologies to satisfy our basic needs. What we need is observation, patience, and respect for Earth's thermal cycles. If Friedrich Ziebold managed to provide water for an entire city with piles of stones, what are you capable of doing in your backyard with the right knowledge? The air is full of water, you just need to give it a place to rest. In this video, we dived into the Russian history of the air well, the physics of mass condensation, and the step-by-step to build your own 1900 water plant. But our journey of self-sufficiency still has one final step. There is a source of energy that many consider impossible to capture at home, something that moves the world but is present in every breeze that blows. If you want the detailed Ziebold stacking schemes, the formula for calculating stone volume per liter of water, and the isolated base designs, I have prepared a complete material for our water sovereignty community. The 1900 Air Well Manual is your guide to never depending on a water bill again. It is the knowledge that transforms dry air into an inexhaustible source. In our next video, we are going to explore the secret of the low-velocity wind generator. I will show you how it is possible to generate electricity to charge batteries and light your house even on days with light breezes, where ordinary wind turbines don't even move. We are going to learn the engineering of biomimetic vertical turbines. The earth gave us the freshness, the air gave us the water, the compost gave us the fire, the seeds gave us the life, the roots gave us the purity, and the stones gave us the abundance. The journey to total freedom is almost complete. The sky is ready to give you a drink. Are you ready to build your well? The manual is in your hands. Until the next lesson in natural engineering.